Let's get started on Zelda. Oh, but before I start, I want to do a questionnaire. I want to know how many of you have played it, or are not going to play it. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Number 1, I'm not going to play it. 2, I'm thinking about it. 3, I'm playing it right now. And 4, I finished it. Okay, please pick one and let's see the result. I heard you don't need to have a Switch to play it, since it's also available on Wii U. But anyway. Okay, now the result, please. Oh wow, half of you are not going to play it, but 20% are thinking about it, I see. But I'm actually surprised to see 10% have finished it. 10% of you finished? Wow, amazing audience. Well, I mean, I'm just like, wow, amazing. Okay, so now I'm targeting this lecture to those who aren't going to play it as well. That's why you don't need to know anything about what kind of game Zelda is. This is Buddha Zelda. It's like how you can enjoy Japanese history when you watch Buddha Tamori without any background knowledge, just by looking at the archaeological sites. Today, rather than talking about how fun Zelda is as a game, I'll focus more on how you can see the world of Zelda to enjoy it more. So, last December, I talked about how I enjoyed hiking, or physical phenomena in Zelda, which was more from the perspective of playing the game. And when I announced today's lecture last week, I was planning to talk about the sci-fi aspect of Zelda. For example, there are enemy robots in the game called Guardians. If you flip it, you'll know that the image source is Kain Shiki Doki, or flame-shaped earthen vessel, from the Jomon period. And I believe that it was inspired by that aircraft in Nausicaa. I mean, Dorok's flying pot. I think the designers of Zelda took inspiration from this. And this thing. Well, it's the actual picture of the Jomon vessel. Well, Miyazaki is impressive for using these types of Japanese images in such a straightforward manner to develop his sci-fi or fantasy worlds, while a lot of Japanese creators would just make them look Western when they make a sci-fi or fantasy. Zelda took a step further and flipped the vessel upside down, giving it legs, which I think is a smart idea. If I talk about Zelda as a sci-fi, I'll be talking about this type of stuff. But that kind of lecture ends up being targeted only at those who played Zelda as a game. That's why I think I should take a different approach. And that's because, unlike movies, it's hard to talk about the themes in depth when it comes to a media like game. I talked about Laputa in the last 2 lectures, but I can talk like that about movies. There are so many hidden themes and messages that the viewers may not realize in movies because they can have profound themes. But games can elaborate their themes. Instead, they can narrow down their storytelling. What I mean by that is, for example, when Miyazaki made Laputa, he first planned to plot the movie based solely on Pazu's perspective. That would limit scenes, and the story would only be based on Pazu's experience. But there's a limit to that kind of movie-making method. But games can make the players experience their worlds by narrowing down what to tell or show. It's the same for Zelda and Dragon Quest. Most stories and scenes are from the first-person views of the main character, who's also the player. That's what I mean by storytelling becomes narrow. They can't switch scenes easily like movies. Because the main characters have to physically go to the next scene in games, they only get a limited view of the world. The good thing is, because of that, games can provide a strong experience. I'll touch on this more later. Now, what I think is, games may be Miyazaki's ideal way of creation. Because before, Miyazaki tried to incorporate computer graphics into movie making. And later, he stopped that and went back to hand-drawn animation. But if Miyazaki wants to do what he originally planned in Laputa, he should make games. His game can be about anything, but if he makes one, he can focus his storytelling on the growth of the main character by narrowing down what to show based on their first-person view. It will give Miyazaki a chance to make something new again, and that is going to make a great impact on the world. It'll show us the next creative step, not only in the animation industry, but the entire movie industry, and what kind of experience they can offer to people. That's why I thought Miyazaki should create a game. As for my own lecture, I thought it would be more interesting to talk about Zelda with a wider perspective than treat it just as a sci-fi. And if we combine Zelda with Hayao Miyazaki, we start seeing it as Nausicaa. It's a world where 100 years have passed since Nausicaa departed. Imagine 100 years later, the holy Dorok Emperor comes back to life as a giant monster in order to erase the entire human race. Princess Zelda, who is a descendant of Nausicaa, is captured inside Tolmekia Palace and cannot escape from there. Meanwhile, the main character boy named Link wakes up with all his memories wiped out. If you think like that, things become very easy to understand. Now, the important part of Zelda is, how should I say? It's the great battle 100 years ago. But I'll talk about the background before I get to it. But the reason I can talk about Zelda like this is because I've already finished the game like some of you. It's a viewpoint you can only have after finishing the game. Because while you're playing, you can only think about how to win in each stage. You just go through all the archaeological sites and get the items without stopping because you want to finish the game as fast as possible. It's kind of like how you travel abroad to overseas archaeological sites, but you end up only spending time at a duty-free shop. Or it's like how you are going to those sites, but just spend time at photo shoot locations. And when you're done, you just buy the souvenirs. That's what happens when you try to finish a game. But Zelda's not that kind of game. It's something you have to read into, like movies and anime. Or, more than movies and anime, even deeper. So, some of you may think that I'll spoil the ending, but don't worry. It's because you will never come across these ideas while you're playing the game. I even wish I could play it for the first time with the knowledge that I have now. So, if you haven't played it yet, you should listen to my lecture before starting the game. Otherwise, you'll play it like any other game. By doing so, you can only enjoy less than 1/10 of how its world was conceptualized by Nintendo staff. So, my lecture on Zelda today will be your background knowledge. I'm pretty confident it'll do you good, but I'll still only talk about 2 topics since some of you may still be worried about the spoiler. I'll talk about the miracle of Fort Hateno and defending Akala Citadel. These 2. 10% of you should know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll talk about the miracle that happened at Fort Hateno and the battle to defend Akala Citadel. I'll treat these 2 events like real history, as if they actually happened.